Hey, everybody, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm Romy Newman. I'm the co-founder of Fairy Godboss, and I'm so excited to be joined here today by Lynn Oldham, who's the Chief People Officer of Zoom. Lynn, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
We had such an overwhelming response to you joining us, and I think it would be fair to say that in the last 3-4 weeks, the world has changed rapidly for everyone. But one interesting byproduct of the change of the world is that I think Zoom has officially become a word in the dictionary, and we all Zoom each other.
I think we've become a verb. Yes, yes.
That's so exciting. Could you tell us a little bit about you and your background and how you ended up at Zoom?
Yeah. So I'm a 30-year veteran of business, specifically in the people space.
Started first grade.
I did. I was 10. I like to say that I help business leaders achieve results through people. That's my mantra. I've played many roles: advisor, consultant, lawyer, coach, and I've worked across industries like publishing, telecom, berries, banking, and now tech. And I joined Zoom in 2019, January, just prior to its IPO, really to help it scale and get to the size that we became overnight. And then on the personal side, I've been married to my best friend for 37 years, have 3 great kids who are all successful business people, and 5 grandkids.
Wow.
That's amazing. Started young.
Lovely, right, on all fronts. What a lovely story. I'm thrilled to hear that. So the first thing I would ask is, I think we've all had a sudden immersion in video conferencing, in technology, communications. Mm-hmm. How has your relationship changed? I mean, one of the first things when you and I met for the first time, you showed me different backgrounds. You showed me all these features of Zoom that I'd never seen before. How has your relationship with technology changed?
Yeah, well, it's interesting you asked that because it's a great question. Before my Zoom experience with virtual meetings, my experience with virtual meetings was limited and frustrating. I recall at my last company, we used one of Zoom's competitors, and we spent 15, 20 minutes in every meeting plugging, unplugging, can you hear me? Can you see me? It was like a meeting tax. So when Zoom came calling, I was not super excited to talk to them because what did I know? I thought they were all the same, right? Until I had my first interview. And in that interview, we obviously had it over Zoom, and I was just amazed at how easy it worked. So I was a convert, and I joined.
Yeah.
I think one of the things, though, that you'd be surprised about, and I think we talked about this last week, is that Zoom was not 100%. It is not a 100% remote company before COVID. Now we are. And I think we were about 25% prior to that. And the balance are in offices all around the globe. So it's been as much a change for us as it's been for other companies.
Yeah. And so how do you talk to people who feel a little nervous? What would you do to reassure them about how to manage virtual work life?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things that are pretty much second nature. It's just about talking to people. It's about creating some sense of normalcy. It's about ensuring that you are doing all the things that we're doing today. We've got our video on, we're looking at each other. That's the way to make sure you feel connected. I just got off our all hands. Always gives me a lot of energy to hang in, so there's a lot of tips and tricks I think that companies really just have to employ to ensure that everybody's feeling connected. Everything from check-ins to conversation. I mean, it's more really about just being a human again, right? Rather than just cranking out the work.
Yeah. So for those of us who are tasked with leading meetings virtually, any tips you can give us on how to ensure success?
I think the most critical thing is ensuring that your video is on, that you've got your, it sounds crazy, but your camera angle is really important because you need to make eye contact with the other folks. I have people, I mean, it's easy to do, right? You've got the display on this screen. So I'm looking here and I'm talking to you. It just doesn't feel right? It doesn't feel like we're connected. So it's really important to ensure that your camera is in the right place. If it's your laptop, great, it's right square in front of your eye. But if you're using an external camera, you need to make sure it's right. The other thing is just make sure you've shut everything off around you. You know, the phone shouldn't be dinging. You shouldn't have your email open over here or your something else over here. I've got multiple screens, so that's why I'm pointing to different sides of me here. But I think those are really critical. And then the other thing I would suggest, and it's been a lot of fun, that this is a virtual background. You can see, because I've got curly hair. It doesn't work as well with curly hair. But at the end of the day, the background you get to display your personality on the background. So one of the things that I love is I showed up to a lunch meeting with a group of people, and one of my colleagues had a big giant piece of pepperoni pizza behind their head, and it made me salivate and laugh at the same time. So that, I think we can use this opportunity, and everybody's producing them. I saw Pixar ones the other day. I saw Ellen did a few. I have West Elm ones. I think there's an opportunity to show a little bit more of your personality through that as well.
Absolutely. It's certainly an interesting world where we're entering each other's homes all the time.
Yes. Yes. You wouldn't want to see what's behind my virtual. It's pretty messy.
So obviously, Fairy Got Boss, our mission is to improve the world, improve the workplace for women. And we have already known that forever in meetings, women are often spoken over, or their ideas get attributed to someone else who repeats them. How can women think about their participation in virtual meetings and thinking about advocating for ourselves and ensuring we get heard?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I've never been a shy gal, so I don't know that I've, especially maybe in senior life now that I'm where I am. I can't think of a time when I've been not able to get a word in edgewise. Usually people can't get a word in edgewise over me, but I do understand, and I probably recall times when I was younger that was an issue. I would say to those women that I believe this situation is the great equalizer, because all heads hold equal real estate on the screen, right? So nobody's head is bigger than the other, right? Yeah. So that gives us a chance in this new all remote all the time world to speak up and have a voice. And I think, you know, I notice it in our meetings. In fact, the few people that do join us actually are male, but when we're in our executive meeting, those people are sitting over my shoulder and we're all sitting this way facing the table. So now we're all equal heads on the same screen, which is quite cool. And then don't forget, you've got whatever tool you're using, there's generally a chat feature. That's a way that if you can't break in for some reason, break in via chat. And you say what you've got to say there, and then you can follow on with the words. But I think that's another opportunity for us to speak up and, you know, just keep our point of view in front of people. I love that question.
Yes, great. So you are also a culture leader, a chief people officer. Mm-hmm. How can we think about driving culture, creating culture, and fostering inclusion and participation in this virtual world?
Yeah. So I think it's interesting. We do a few things that I'll be happy to describe. I think some of the things are happening over Zoom that, you know, just nobody ever contemplated, right? Birthdays, bar mitzvahs, dating, happy hours, game night, you name it. That's the personal side of it. The work side of it, I would say we've done things like we have a happy crew, first off, and our happy crew is an awesome group of 175 plus global volunteers
Wow.
that are yeah. So we believe in culture comes from grassroots, right? From it's organic, and so these volunteers put together all kinds of events, and one in particular we call the Zoom Rendezvous. So basically, once a month in the early morning, so we catch Europeans, and afternoon to catch APAC. We have a meeting where it's a non-work related question. It's great. And they pose it to the group. And if it's a big enough group, we then break out. They're a breakout room feature. We go off into smaller groups and contemplate the answers to that question. And then you bring it all back together and have some debrief. And it's a good way to get to know your colleagues, get to know people in other countries, get to know people that maybe are sitting on the same floor as you, but you just never work with them. So that's what we do from one of our traditions. And then the other one we started since all this went down, and it's an open mic night. So one night a week, we set aside an hour, and Zoomies perform for other Zoomies. It's amazing. Last week, it were singing, there was storytelling, there was a baton twirler. It was amazing. And who knew that we had such talent under our roof? So there were opportunities for us to really see difference. I mean, it's like the virtual background. You get to see a different side of a person, and it's almost making us more connected than we were before, if that can be imagined.
Absolutely. And I also think it's so interesting because the people who are willing to get up there and twirl their baton are making such a critical contribution, because it's memorable. It helps bring people together. And there are so many ways that I think individuals can help each other that are not even big, that go a long way.
Yes. And she did it in the dark with neon batons. I was very impressed.
That's impressive. Very impressive.
Can I talk to you too I wanted to talk to you about as well, something we're doing that I think is even more important today. So one of the things we're working on is what we're calling connecting through conversation. So my team has put together this whole program that it's an hour long, but basically we're doing it with intact teams where we're encouraging dialogue. What's changed for you? How does it feel during this time? What kind of things can we help you with? How are our goals changed? How's the work changed? How do we cope with that? So we're having real dialogues with intact teams, and that's helping a lot too, because like I said, Romy, it's kind of all about how do you connect with people during this. So we're facilitating that as a group, and it just, one of my folks on my team calls it her blow dryer moments, and she had a blow dryer moment, and we put it into process, and now actually our customers are asking for it as well. So I think it's something very necessary in this time. We're doing lots of great things around, connecting people with the tool, but there is something beyond the tool that needs connection as well.
Absolutely. I love that. And, I also have blow dryer moments, so I have to talk to your blow dryer moment person. But in all seriousness, recently a friend sent me a note and just said, like, how are you feeling? Tell me how you're feeling. And I was so happy to have been asked.
Yeah.
Meant a lot.
You asked about, how tips on meetings. And I know we were talking about the tool, but some of the things that we do, like yesterday, we just started the meeting with a check-in, and they could either write it in chat or they could say it out loud, but it was, what's occupying your brain right now? Yeah. You could ask, what is it you want to get out of the meeting? What's, if I had a warning label, what would it say? So we start with a check-in, and we really get deep from there. It's actually kind of nice. And then go through the meeting, we do our contents, and then we save the last 5 minutes to do what we call Zoomitude, our version of gratitude, where we just talked about, like, what is it we're thankful for? And again, you could participate in chat if you're not someone who feels if you're an introvert, you don't want to say it out loud, but it got dialogue going, and it was really good. I think that will forever change how I conduct a meeting, whether we're in person or via Zoom.
I think that's great. And I love the Zoomitude. I'm going to adopt that. So the other thing that is part of Zoom, but Zoom adjacent, is the whole work-life balance thing is like really out the window because we are at work all day and we're at home all day. And he also sent me a meme today that said, you're not working from home, you're at home trying to work during a crisis.
That's it. I saw that too. I love that. That's exactly right.
So how do we do this? What do you recommend?
Sounds crazy, but for me, I set it up front, normalcy. I have to go to bed at the same time. I need to wake up when I used to. I need to keep up my exercise. We have to give tolerance for dogs barking in the background. I apologize for that. But at the end of the day, I think if I stay normal, one of my colleagues said the other day when we had our regular weekly meeting, Lynn, you always are like, I feel like a schlub. I'm always in a sweatshirt and a hoodie. I said, it's to do. You have to do for you what you do. I have to do for me. And for me, it's all about just keeping the same cadence, the same routine, and scheduling breaks. Oh my God. I could sit here from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. It could easily happen. And now I'm scheduling time. I've got a walk scheduled at 11:30 today. I will go outside. I will breathe fresh air. I need to do that. Otherwise, you could lose it a little bit, right? So it's important to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. It's that whole adage. What do they say? Put the mask on yourself before you take care of other people. And that's how I feel, right now, that's what I've got to do. So, yeah, people's lives, not just the work, are not the same, right? It's lives, not just the work.
Exactly. And there's that great book, Essentialism, that I really ascribe to, that says when you go for that walk, you actually do better work. You have better ideas. It's better for work. It's better for you. It's just better all around.
Yeah. I had started meditating before this. And I do, I like Calm. I also do Oprah and Deepak. They have different series, and I'm working right now on a 21-day series called Hope. And they're offering it for free, which is great. So I'm going through that every morning, and I had started already, but it seems even more important now. It's crazy. It's 20 minutes, but it's just 20 minutes of, going deep, which is, I think, where we all need to go sometimes, right?
Especially now. Absolutely. Yeah. It helps foster the strength we all need these days.
Yes. Yes.
So on a different note, one of the things you and I chatted about before is the notion of sort of networking, career advancement, career development can really fall by the wayside in this world. How do we still make space for that and maximize opportunities?
Yeah, I read this question when you sent it to me. I was like, whew, wow, she's killing me here. This is really going to be harder now. I think that, and hopefully this passes, soon enough. But I think in the interim, the video meetings with people, and if you can think about people that you are interested in getting mentorship from, connect with them inside the company and outside the company. LinkedIn, I can't tell you the flood of folks who are connecting with me there, and I love it. I really feel like this period of being at home has caused more of that than less. So find people that way. They also have a great opportunities for you to connect. So I think those are the only things for now that we can do. And then obviously always keep working on self, because that's the key to success anyway, right?
Yes. Yes. And I actually think it can be so hard to find the space in all the craziness, but also it's really good to find things to focus on that are not the crisis at hand, because otherwise you can really just get sucked in.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
now's a good time to learn that other language or develop that new
Yeah,
skill.
I love that. I love that. And I'll give a plug for another app there. Duolingo is the one I use.
Everybody's
Um,
raving.
I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I speak French, but I haven't spoken in a long time. So I was using it to brush up on my French.
Love that.
Yes.
All right, so I have my last question for you, and we're going to
Yeah.
open it up for Q&A,
Okay.
but I
That's
want
good.
to just give everybody the heads up that please, if you have questions, submit them now. And while you do that, I will ask you this, Lynn.
Okay.
Um, soon, 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 I hope this is over.
Yes.
Whenever it's over, though, I think the working world looks really different.
Oh,
So
yeah.
what's your prediction about
Mm,
how the world looks different when we're on the other side of this terrible
yeah.
thing?
I don't see how it won't change. Um, People are going stir crazy because they're quarantined, not because they're working from home. I think people, for the most part, enjoy the flexibility of working from home. They are certainly productive. Some say, I meet more people who say they're more productive than they were before. Um, I think this forced situation is going to let companies see that it actually works. Um, I have someone I was talking with who said, this is before it got really ugly. Her boss was not willing to call it, meaning work from home, because she didn't believe that she unfortunately didn't believe that anyone would work at home. So I think this situation is going to allow those kind of people who had held that belief to dispel it. So I just think that the way we work will be forever changed. Now, it's not going to go 100% remote. That's just not going to happen. But companies are going to, let's assume we're going to have some recession. I think that companies are going to think twice about losing people versus losing real estate. And I think, it's a lot easier to lose real estate. It's inanimate, right? Than lose your people. So I just think we're forever going to be changed. I don't know what it looks like between where we are and 100, and where we were before, but it's going to move closer toward remote. I truly believe that.
Oh, I think you have, for sure. That's sure to be true. All right, we're getting some great questions.
Oh boy.
Some of them
Okay.
are product questions, so you may have to just refer these or make notes, product questions, product ideas. But the first one is, what was the name of the Hope meditation service that you're using?
It's, I will look at my app right now if you don't mind. It's an app that is by Deepak, and it's Oprah and Deepak.
Chopra? Yeah.
Yes. And they are offering a 21-day free meditation on hope in uncertain times. It's called Hope in Uncertain Times.
Yes, that
Yeah.
sounds phenomenal. You could use
It is
some.
really good. Yes.
Do you have pointers on how do you manage when people talk over each other? That can be really challenging.
Yeah.
And even if there's a lag, as I'm creating right now, how do you manage for that?
It's a good question. I think when you start doing this more, there's almost an etiquette to it that comes with time. It's not immediately second nature to you. I think, like I said before, I use the chat feature because to me that's a way to get a word in edgewise if everybody's yakking at the same time. Or I will wait till it dies down and then put my thought out there. There's no real silver bullet. It's just a matter of getting used to it and keep going. You'll get it. You'll get in there.
Yes, I think we're all sort of adjusting. You should have seen, I was so impressed with my kid's teacher yesterday, managing 26-year-olds on a Zoom and teaching them how and when to talk with each other. and kind of, they were managing through the giving everyone a moment when they were unmuted to participate and kind of going around, but it was interesting.
I can't imagine, like when I get on, like I told you, we had an all hands this morning, and seeing everybody just made me smile. I can't imagine how a 6-year-old feels who's been in the house all the time when they see all their friends, right?
It's been everything for my kids to be able to
Yeah.
see their friends. I will tell you that for sure.
Good, 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 good.
But as related, and a product feature question is, do you have any kind of raise hand feature, or is that something you've considered adding?
That's a good question. I think we don't. We have a, it's not on this webinar, but in a Zoom meeting, there's the ability to clap silently. So clapping hands show up on the screen, as well as a thumbs up, but not a raise the hand feature. That's, I'll take that back to the product team. How about that?
Oh, I see people raising their hand. Haha.
Then I don't know the webinar product as well. Okay,
all
there
right.
we go.
Somebody figured it out. We've got lots of people raising their hands to show us they can raise their hand. So I guess it's
I can't
see. It must
see
be
because I'm not the host.
Yes. Let's see. It's there. Well, maybe somebody wants to put in a chat how you did that.
I see. Okay.
Okay, so let me get some other questions here. So this is kind of more a new world question. If you're not comfortable on social media, how do you kind of adjust in this new world? Do you recommend that people use social media? I have found it to be really helpful for the connections and just kind of knowing, and I actually have tried to post a little more just to kind of, again, kind of like your baton twirler.
If I look at all the tabs open, LinkedIn is my second tab open. I'm absolutely, I'm not like a giant social media maven, but I feel like you do, Romy. Right now, it's my way to connect with the world. Yeah.
Yes. And please come join us on Fairy God Boss too. We're having conversations all day, especially about what women are experiencing right now and how we're all trying to do the work-life balance thing.
Yeah.
This is a good question. Thank you for asking it, Deb. How do you encourage and motivate people who are having difficulty working from home? So many people are having a hard time. So many people are like me, they're trying to do homeschool and work from home at the same time.
Yeah.
The people who are there's people feeling at their rope's end. What do you say right now?
Yeah. Well, right now as a company, we're just preaching tolerance and when I say tolerance, I mean, like I said, you heard my four-legged child whining. They'll the kids, when I talk to my children, I can hear all their kids in the background. I think we just gotta understand that this is the new normal while we go through this pandemic, and expect, I don't want to say expect less, but tolerate less. Let people get through this really rough time with a little bit of leeway. And I think if you show up like that as the manager, people will give you what they can. They're not going to disappoint you. They're going to work when they can. I mean, some of our young parents, and we are a young company, right? I'm bringing the average age up, but they are doing things like, working around their kids' schedules. Dad watches the kids while mom takes some calls. Mom watches the kids while dad takes necessary calls. It's really a juggling act, and we just all have to recognize it and be accepting.
For sure. Jenny is asking us, so to that point, how do you set a stopping point at the end of your day and not feel guilty about it?
Yeah, Jenny, you're
when the meetings
person.
Still comes in, right?
You're asking the wrong person. My husband has to say to me, hey, it's 9 o'clock. Come on. No, how do I start it? How do I do that? I think, so my husband's been furloughed. So he's not working right now. And he's really good about putting lunch on the table. We check schedules in the morning. He puts lunch on the table. He looks at, we look at when my last call is, and he puts dinner. And so he's trying to help me maintain that normalcy. I would say the first 2 weeks I was home, he wasn't furloughed. I was way worse at it. I'm getting better with his help. I think ask for help around you. If you're single, use your phone to set alarms. Use Google Home to remind you.
Or schedule Zooms with your check-in Zooms with your friends.
There you go. There you go. I mean, I've got elderly parents in other states. I can set all those alarms on my phone or my Google Home. So do your best to try to create a schedule and stick to it, including scheduling for yourself.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should end here with a Zoomitude. Because I loved learning about your Zoomitude. And I will tell you, my Zoomitude really is for, so this is, we're all kind of overwhelmed in managing all this. And this week I got to meet with my book club via Zoom, a wonderful group of women that I love spending time with, and I've missed them so much. And it was after the weeks of isolation and the challenges of work-life balancing, my Zoomitude was to be able to Zoom with my book club. It meant the world.
That's fabulous. That's so fabulous. I would echo that. I would say it's my grandchildren that I miss the most. I mean, I miss everybody, but I miss them fiercely. And I would say we're playing Battleship over Zoom, and with one family, and the other family we're playing Uno over Zoom. So I do appreciate the fact that I can be in their living room and they can be in mine for this time when I can't give them a hug.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's so hard. I see a couple more questions. There are product questions or questions about how to use Zoom. And I'm sorry if that's what someone's expressing frustration that we didn't cover more sort of products or how to, but
so let me just say this. We have a fabulous website, and I'm going to give it to you. If you give me 1 second, I will tell you where, because there are webinars, there are blogs, there's all kinds of tips and tricks out there, and you just go to the Zoom website and it's zoom.us, and you can find everything your heart desires. The other thing is, if you know somebody who is a decent Zoom user, talk to them. I didn't know that the waiting room feature. I called up somebody who did. They walked me through it because of screen share on a Zoom meeting. You can actually have that opportunity to follow along with them and know how to do it. So there's a whole bunch of different ways. I did see something about HIPAA compliance. Yes, we are HIPAA compliant. We work with a lot of healthcare systems. We are keeping doctors and nurses connected at this point, and people who aren't as sick and shouldn't be in the hospital, they can do virtual things as opposed to having people exposed to the wrong germs. So yes, I did see a lot of that, and I'd be glad to answer them if you guys could. Oh, it's a lot of anonymous. I apologize. I was going to say I could answer them for you, but I think your best bet is zoom.us, and go to our resource site, and you'll find everything you need and more.
And I would add also that just trial and error. Get on Zoom, get on with your friends, mess around with it. It's really intuitive.
Get on by yourself. You can join a meeting all by yourself.
Yes.
Play with backgrounds. I took a CEO of a nonprofit through it the other day, and she's the most non-technical person I know. And we got her putting up virtual backgrounds and all kinds of things, and she didn't break anything. So yeah, play with it.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yes.
Well, Lynn, I am also extremely grateful to you for spending time with us today. To your point, it's all about, we all need ways to come together, and you've brought a lot of people together today, so thank you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it, Romy. I appreciate that you asked me. I really do.
It's been great to get to know you. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye, guys.